Clerk just introduced a new price structure that is supposed to scale as you do as well. In this set of price changes, there were changes to both the free plan, and they've managed to reduce their plans from 3 to essentially 2 plus enterprise. And I want to talk about how those changes impact you as a user, what's great about them, and what could be a little better. Now, before we get into any of this, I just want to point out if you're already on a plan with them, you get grandfathered into that original plan. So if you're on the business legacy plan, then that's what you're going to be on. And if you're a brand new customer, then this is what the pricing that you would pay. I just want to point this out. I've seen it a few times across a few different tweets. I no longer work at Clerk, but these pricing changes do affect me, and they may influence you if you've been in the past and said they're too expensive, or they don't have the features that I need, or the pricing doesn't make sense. So let's talk about it. Again, free plan is $0 a month. You get 10,000 monthly active users, which is huge. So every month you can have up to 10,000 active users. You get all their pre-built components, you get their custom domains, you can roll your own, all those kinds of things. Again, Clerk branding stays on, but that's super important. Now, after that, you advance to the pro plan. Maybe you've scaled and now you want some additional features. Allow list, block list, customized session duration are a few examples. Of course, you still now get 10,000 users regardless. So in the original price plan, it was 5K. And then when you move to the pro plan, I mean the hobby plan or the business plan, it was 1K of users, and then you paid any additional user. So when you go from here, it's now 10 grand, regardless if you're here or here. And it's 2 cents per active users after your first 10,000 in the month. On top of that, they now offer these packages as separate packages. So if you only need user impersonation and enhanced roles, and you need audit logging, that's going to cost you $100 a month, but that's only if you need these a la carte features. Again, the same up here. If you need multi-factor authentication, such as SMS, TOTP, and backup codes, you need to track the devices and revoke them remotely, you need multi-session, or you need SAML, then this will cost you an additional $100 a month. Now, we'll get into the good and the bad and the ugly in a minute, but let's continue on. B2B SaaS features in the free plan, it hasn't changed really since the original. So you get 100 monthly active orgs now. You get up to 5 members per org. It used to be 3, I believe. And invitation flows and basic roles. Those things all existed before in the free plan, but they've been bumped up a little bit. Now every monthly active org after the first 100 is now $1, and then you get unlimited after that. And then of course, if you need these B2B SaaS features, it's also going to cost you $100 for the month, which includes domain restrictions, automatic invitations, custom roles, and permissions, which is a feature they've been working on for a little while. Again, if you're in the old plans, you don't have to pay for any of this. You get all of the features you had originally. So now that we've looked at how the basic things, we're going to look at the pricing table, and I'm going to talk about things that they should have probably done when they did this pricing change. This is, of course, my opinion, and my opinion doesn't really matter, but the feedback may end up back at them. But let's talk about their pricing. So the good things here, obviously, getting 10K and 100 active orgs is absolutely phenomenal. It definitely helps you scale your business to a level where you can start taking money. And of course, if you're doing one of those freemium style applications where maybe only a small percentage of your people are paying, this will really help. My biggest gripe, and this has always been my gripe since the beginning of time, is Clerk charges $10 per month per seat for users in the dashboard. Now, this isn't unusual in a lot of places, but I feel like charging access to the dashboard at $10 a month is still too steep. Personally, if I was Clerk today and I was still involved with Clerk, I would request that they actually just remove this seat. It seems pointless to restrict it, or maybe they add an additional custom role that is just read-only, and you can invite users to be read-only that can't actually do any of the management stuff. Then I would say 3 paid is fine and $10 for additional developers. But if you want to invite your business people, it starts to get really expensive really quickly. Then we can talk about all these features. I still think it's great that we're getting all of the regular features, up to 3 social logins. So you can use GitHub, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, whatever you want to use. You get to pick them. They're not restricted down to, oh, it's only Google, Microsoft, and GitHub. You pick the ones that work for you, and you can get up to 3 on the free plan. Of course, in the free plan, SMS is missing. Of course, in all the other plans, you do get that. They also come based on location, so they're charged out based on location. So it's not just unlimited SMS. You are charged the market rate for that user. Of course, you get the sign-in tokens, automatic account linking, user metadata, webhooks and data sync, all that stuff comes along. You don't get custom emails and SMS templates, which is fine. The only gripe I have with this is still if you're in another country, unless they fix this internally, which I looked at the dashboard and I don't think it is if you live in another country, you have to buy the Pro plan to be able to offer it in another language, which is kind of annoying. I feel like they should figure out a way to offer some way to translate them into another language and keep that as part of the free plan. Custom password requirements. Yep, I think that's perfectly fine to be a paid expense. The password requirements that are there by default are pretty good. So I don't think that's big of an issue. You still get brute force protection, you get bot protection, you get user bans. So you get all the essentials to keep your application secure. And then with the Pro, you get allow lists. You can block the sub addresses. And of course, you can get rid of disposable emails. If you're using something like AI, these are essential plans. And custom session tokens and JWT templates, which I think is still one of the best features that Clerk offers that they don't talk about enough. Custom session tokens is super powerful. You can add all sorts of user data, including emails. You can include pieces of information that you need to drive decisions based upon that in your backend without making requests to the API. It's super useful. Check it out. I use it in Unki for a bunch of things. It's definitely worth it. This is a change with the Pro authentication add-on stuff, which is the simultaneous sessions, aka multi-session. This was in the original business plan, which was $99 a month. I do understand why it's here, and we can talk about at the end, do I think these authentication add-ons make sense, or do I think they need to go a bit deeper? Finally, dashboard admin stuff. Again, additional seats, I think it's too much. It would be different if this custom dashboard roles, which is coming soon, offered something like 3 paid and those were developers, and then you had read-onlys. That would make sense. Then back into B2B, user limit of 5. Cool. Invitation emails, basic RBAC, all the kind of stuff that you need. Of course, this stuff makes sense if you need custom roles. And then support. Of course, they're never going to take away from data exports. You can ask for them to export at any time. Community support. Obviously, that is through their Discord. And then email support. This is a change that I don't think was highlighted. They now only allow you, if you're on the free plan, for billing, registration, and abuse queries only. Before, it was anybody could send an email. I don't know if they're actually implementing that, but this feels like a weird change. I think, personally, support should be offered for free regardless if you're paying hundreds of dollars or not. But with the community support, I can understand. But sometimes some people just want to email, and restricting them may not be the best thing. But let's go back up to the talk and talk about these 2 add-on packages. These 2 add-on packages are interesting, and I think they're on the right plan. I think they're on the right track to making them make sense, but I think they may have missed the mark a bit too. And let's talk about that. So one of the things that I think works is this advanced admin add-on for $100, getting user impersonation, enhanced roles, and audit logging as part of your plan totally makes sense to me. And charging $100 totally makes sense. The user impersonation flow is absolutely phenomenal at Clerk. I use it at Unki. It is great. So this $100 a month plan, I think, still misses the mark slightly, and I want to talk about it in 2 different ways. So this multi-factor auth has SMS, TOPT, and backup codes as an offering. In other scenarios, I think one of these should have been included in your Pro plan, whether that is just the SMS or the TOTP. Probably TOTP because it doesn't really cost any money to implement the TOTP. SMS, you have to, obviously, there's a bunch that goes into that, right? Like, you need to be able to send it to a customer. 2, it gets charged out based upon the thing. And the reason that SMS may have already been an option that they could have done and not required an add-on was because SMS is included in the Pro plan anyway. So if you want the user to log in via SMS, they can anyway. So why not offer this as part of your multi-factor authentication? Secondly, I think device tracking and revoke the access via remote revoke including that in your $100 plan seems extortionate. They're already doing this before, and it seems like you should have been able to do this anyway. Revoking your access via the user profile was something that was a feature that was one of the killer features that Clerk has, and putting it under this $100 banner feels like you either are locked in that you need all of these features, or you need one of these features and now that feature costs you $100 a month. Could they do something else where they set the pricing differently, right? Like, let's say $100 a month gets you all of these, and then maybe each one of these individually, because there's 4 of them, they should be $25 each. Maybe you charge $30 for multi-factor authentication, or maybe you can pick and choose and this pricing becomes more a la carte. I think this could work really well. They're now a big business. They're not a small startup. They can really make these fine-grained changes to their pricing structure without having to worry too much. So they could set this and maybe these 2 things as like a $50 or something like that. Because I don't need SAML, no offense, but I might need simultaneous sessions and multi-factor authentication. But I definitely don't need SAML. So like they need to figure out how to make SAML its own thing and then keep these other authentication add-ons themselves. Overall, I am super excited that these pricing changes have come into effect. They really do make a difference to a lot of people. I was super happy to see them. This has been in discussion for months and months and months. I think some of my last 6 months at Clerk, there were a lot of discussions about pricing and trying to make it work for everybody. Overall, I give it an 8 out of 10. I think they've done a great job. And of course, if you've not checked out Clerk before, please do so. I still love them dearly. They still love me. And I think they're still the best authentication provider in this space.